Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for your WWE NXT Event Center report. And now here is the man to bring you that report, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977, episode 1548 of the show. What's going on? My name is Eric Lima. And let's have some fun tonight as we're going to do the last video of the day until tomorrow. And what is tonight? We're going to talk about NXT. Just got over not too long ago, about 5 minutes ago. And we're going to talk about what happened on NXT. And I have some few points to make on NXT. The six-man tag match kicked off NXT as the Rascalz and Gallows did talk about their match before the show started to kick off NXT. The Rascalz consist of Wes Lee from NXT and also from TNA, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, and up against the Gallows boys, the Coffee Brothers, Joe and Mark, along with Wolfgang, and heck of a match. And Joe Hendry came out during the matchup and decided to join Vic Joseph and Booker T on color commentary, and as a result, the Rascalz, the MSK Rascalz, I like to call them, end up winning the matchup. Kelly Kincaid interviewed Chase U as Duke Hudson was getting ready for his North American title match, but then when Kelly Kincaid interviewed Roxanne Perez, Thea Hale decided to go take off, possibly go after her. While they're telling Ridge, hey Ridge, keep an eye on her. And then Ethan Page confronts Ava about him being the NXT champion, and then Oro Mensah interrupts him. He wants a match with him, but I think Oro Mensah is just fighting for Noam Dar's honor. I don't think he's wanting the title just yet. I think for right now, I think Oro Mensah is just fighting for Noam Dar's honor. And he says, "I'm fine. I'll defend the title against Dante Chen." So Roxanne Perez addresses the women's division, and she name dropped Julia and Stephanie Becker, who are both on their way to NXT as Ray speaks. So and so I think when the WWE tours in Japan, they're going to sound the announcing the signing of Julia, and I'm sure Julia will probably take some part in some live events as well. I heard Meiko Satomura will be taking part in some live events in the WWE as well. Can't wait for that. Who knows? We'll probably see a dream match with Io Sky and Kairi Sane versus Meiko Satomura and Julia. Or could all four of them be in a 4-woman tag, an 8-woman tag match? Who knows for sure? against let's say Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, and somebody else. Who knows? So, anyways, and Roxanne, it's not just the 3 ladies you need to worry about. The 2 ladies you need to worry about. Delta's on her way to the WWE as well, I think. She signed on with the company. Then don't forget, you got Gigi Dolan and Nikita Lyons still on the injured reserve, still on the IL. When they get off the IL, you best believe that they may be thinking about targeting you for that championship as well, Roxanne. Got a long list of contenders. By the end of the year, you're going to be challenged like no other. And that's why Thea Hale, though, interrupts Roxanne Perez. Both women were talking smack. Both women started to brawl, and they started trying to do submission holds and all that. And then Ridge Holland pulls Thea Hale off Roxanne Perez as Roxanne Perez retreats. Kelly Kincaid, a busy young lady, interviewed Kaylani Jordan, and she also name-dropped Julia and Stephanie Becker. She said that the women's division is stronger. Don't forget, you got Gigi Dolan and Nikita Lyons waiting in the wings after their injury, after they recuperate from their injuries. And then Wendy Chudo interrupts her and looks at the title. And then Kaylani Jordan. But then Kelly Kincaid, she interviewed Lola Vice, Fallon Henley, JC, but Lola Vice, and then Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix interrupt her, and then Lola Vice looks at JC Jane and goes, I'm looking at my next opponent. Javon Evans took on Brooks Jensen one-on-one. Sean Spears appears during ringside. Josh Briggs confronts Spears, but then Brooks Jensen goes, it's okay, it's alright, just chill, don't worry about him. And Javon Evans ends up winning the matchup. And then he goes to attack, Brooks Jensen goes to attack Evans after the matchup, and Josh Briggs says, hey, I stuck my neck out for you. Then Charlie Dempsey interrupts a poker card game with the D'Angelo family and said, listen, what do I do about this witness that saw us do what we did? And they go, and she goes, well, yeah, it's your problem. Just found out that Ren Sinclair was the one that witnessed it. So Sarah Schreiber interviewed Dante Chen about getting a title shot, and Dante Chen goes, this is what I dreamed for. I want to make the most of it. Trick Williams was FaceTiming with Ilya Dragunov, and Ilya Dragunov goes, this is not one problem I'm going to help you with. But then he goes over to Pete Dunne, and Pete Dunne was just in there, and he goes, figure it out yourself. Then the title match happened between Ethan Page and Dante Chen. And Dante Chen, I forgot to write this part down. And Ethan Page did end up winning the matchup. There we go. Ethan Page did retain the title against Dante Chen, and Oro Mensah again attacks Page after the matchup, and then Gallows complains about losing to the Rascalz, and then Joe Coffey, idiot that he is, mentioned Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry came up and wanted to take a skull thing of us Gallus and Drew McIntyre. I would not be surprised if Drew McIntyre, if he loses this match against CM Punk, he better form a group of his own, and Gallus could be the boys to help him out. You never know. And then Tatum Paxley went up against Izzy Dane. By the way, some news on that, on Izzy Dane. She's the one who's now dating Braun Breaker. Yep, I am not kidding you. Oh, I forgot to say, we also forgot Cora Jade is waiting in the wings from her injury as well. So Roxanne Perez, once you get Julia Stephanie Pacur arriving and Delta arriving in NXT, along with Gigi Dolan, Nikita Lyons, and Cora Jade off the injury list, Roxanne Perez is going to have a plethora of contenders to deal with. And believe me, Roxanne, you're going to need all the luck you can get, sister. And then, so Paxley ended up beating Izzy Dane, while Wendy Chu was arriving at ringside, and then Wendy Chu was holding out the headless doll. Tatum Paxley puts the head back on. So, a little bit more on that situation. JC was hyping up Duke Hudson before his matchup. Ashante the Adonis was talking to Cedric Alexander about competition, and then he starts checking out girls, and he said, hey, dude, already? And then he checked out Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. Earl Mensah, steps in, and Alexander had to step in and say, hey, enough. That leads to a match next week between Earl Mensah and Ashante the Adonis. Meanwhile, Lola Vice took on JC Jane one-on-one. Vice won the matchup, and then Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix and JC Jane attacked Vice after the matchup. Carmen Petrovich and Shoruka help out Lola Vice. Meanwhile, Tatum Paxley was playing with her dolls in the back. And Eli Jones goes, hey, where's Wendy? Oh, by the way, that's her doll. Maybe she wants it back. And she goes, oh, it's my doll. Well, do you want to play? Well, I'm too old to play with dolls, but thanks anyways, girl. And then she puts down the doll and has a doll that looks like Kaylani Jordan. What is going on? Ethan Page addresses Oro Mensah. So, Ethan Page addresses Oro Mensah, saying that Oro Mensah is not worthy of the title. He did not pin me. I'm leaving. Then mixed six-person tag, the OC, that's the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Michin, facing against the OTM, that's Out the Mud, that's Bronco Nima, Lucian Price, and Jada Parker, and the OC ended up winning that matchup. Meanwhile, Ren Sinclair says she won't tell anybody what they did to the No Quarter Catch crew until they get their joint. They're trying to refuse her, and I think Ren Sinclair may end up joining the No Quarter Catch crew. Eddie Thorpe and a brawl at a club last night with Lexis King. I forgot to write that down. Which will lead to a match next week between which leads to a match next week as well as Mensa versus Ashante the Adonis. Main event time, North American Championship, Obafemi and Duke Hudson. Both men are almost the same size, but Obafemi's got an inch above Hudson, and there's the weight advantage. This was a heck of a matchup until Femi put Duke Hudson through the announcer table, but then grabbed him into the ring, hit him with the Fall from Grace powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Obafemi retains the North American Championship. At the end, Briggs and Jensen were arguing about the loss, and then he goes, "I lost because of you." Yeah, so I'm challenging you to a match one-on-one. He said, "We don't need to do this. Last time I did that, I kicked your butt." And then he looked at him, no disqualification. Then he hops into the car and takes off. But who was driving him? Who was there? So I'll tell you one thing: Country Grit explodes next week. We shall see what happens. 3 big matches, possibly signed. Well, that's all the time we have on this show. Episode 1548 of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977 is complete. Reminder, tomorrow, the Joker's Wild Wednesday will be yanking on the handle against that Rotten Devil. Hopefully it will cool off a little bit tomorrow. And we shall see what happens there. So, and also AEW Dynamite Event Center is tomorrow as well. Thank you for tuning in. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, get some sleep, have a good night. And until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer. That is all for today's episode. This is your announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, doing for Bob Saget Productions, and in association with Raven Bofa Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching today's episode. Tune in next time for another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Goodbye for now.